An AEW legend could be joining Goldberg on his retirement show. Plus, an ex-WWE star is planning an in-ring comeback. And the reason for a popular NXT star going undrafted has been revealed. It's all in the wrestling news right now. Lots of conversation about Goldberg and his free agency. Conversation that could potentially lead to a retirement tour or a retirement show. And he's not alone in this, is he? Who else could be possibly joining him?
Well, let's tell the lovely people, Tom. So wrestling promoter Rick Baseman spoke on House of Wrestling about some big plans for Goldberg and an AEW legend. He said, "I'm actively in touch with Bill. I'm working on a date right now. I don't promote much these days, but every now and then something fun comes up and it's worth diving into. So we're working on a date in Jerusalem, Israel for September of this year, and that would involve potentially both Goldberg and Sting."
Sting! It's Sting! Oh, I'm intrigued by this. Now Rick Bassman also says that there's hopes to bring not just them, but other characters together for a mega event for Goldberg's retirement. This is, of course, once AEW give full clearance. But he says nothing's signed off yet. He even ends by saying, wouldn't be surprised if Bill ends up back in WWE for something massive.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, wasn't it? I think Goldberg was talking about how he had a handshake deal with Vince McMahon that he would have like one final big match, retirement match in WWE. Nothing's come to fruition yet, which has led Goldberg to be like, well, if that's not gonna happen, let's go off and do like a bit of a tour, a few dates for like my retirement thing. And Goldberg versus Sting, that's a big one.
Would you do that? Be how you do it? You wouldn't have Sting as another match. You just go straight in Goldberg versus Sting.
Oh, I think Goldberg versus Sting might have to be the final one. Do you think? Like, I wouldn't want to see Goldberg versus Sting. If they do like a 4-date thing, I wouldn't want to see that match 4 times necessarily for it to feel like a big deal. And then especially if they like go with just the same result every single time, I would have that as like a final thing for Goldberg. What do you reckon?
It sounds like that if both parties are available, this would be something that Vince will put on in Saudi Arabia. I'll be honest with you. It does scream a crown jewel main event as Goldberg versus Sting. But I like the idea because Sting has also said that he's looking to wind it up now. So the idea of both of them having this like one massive show in Jerusalem to end their careers, I think would be an interesting proposition as a standalone card. Yeah. It's always quite nervy when, I mean, Rick Bassman's got a legendary career as a promoter. He's promoted music, entertainment, and all in between. So you know that the production would be good, but obviously because I've seen some shows on an independent level that haven't hit the mark production-wise and marketing-wise, and then you have this great opportunity and it just falls by the wayside, potentially. You know, we haven't got, I mean, the standard bearer will always be WWE. That's not a diss on AEW or Impact. In terms of production level, the standard bearer is WWE.
Yeah,
and that's what you want, that level of production.
Yeah, definitely. I would have thought if it was going to be with AEW, maybe at All In, you have the final thing. I think people were saying one of Sting's biggest matches or something was like near the Wembley Stadium. I can't remember what it was necessarily.
It was in the pub over the road.
It was at the pub over the road. We all know those ones. But like, there was some significance for Sting. So Sting wanted to retire. It would be nice for him to do it in Wembley or something like that, I believe. And maybe him and Goldberg. I don't know yet, but we'll see how this one plays out, I guess.
From winding down to winding back up again, Mark Jindrak was chatting to Developmentally Speaking. He said, "I've been getting in good shape again, so I feel like a resurgence. Kind of have an itch to take on some more wrestling shows. Maybe could see me wrestling more in the United States. I don't know. That's one thing I look back on and I've got a little bit of regret. I wish I maybe could have cut Mexico a little earlier and come back and did more stuff in the United States. But there is still a chapter to write, honestly, because he's been doing some great stuff over in Mexico. He's been part of AAA and CMLL and, of course, part of WCW and WWE. He was infamously included in the early plans for Triple H's Evolution faction before he was... The documentary on that is hilarious on why they were cut. Basically, Mark Jindrak and Randy Orton would just play silly buggers in the back.
I remember watching the documentary thing, hearing about that. I mean, it would be nice to see, because I do believe, and I might be completely wrong, hopefully I'm not, that Mark Jindrak became CMML World Heavyweight Champion, but then had to relinquish the title due to an injury, and then therefore hadn't wrestled since the relinquishment, I think, and like he just went off for the injury. And It's never nice to see a wrestler do that, is it?
He's great as well.
He's so good. He's so good.
He's got a strong look about him, and there's I think there's still some story to tell.
Yeah.
With Mark Jindrak.
Definitely.
I'd like to see it more. The story that we never got was the Briscoes in WWE. Not for want of trying, because Mark Briscoe was on Talk Is Jericho, and he opened up about WWE's reaction to their tryout a few years ago, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He said everybody was saying everybody really liked you. I really think they're going to bring you guys on. I guess it was a week or two after we got home. We were just waiting to hear back because they said we will let you know. John Laurinaitis told me, yeah, we really liked your stuff, but I think we're going to pass for right now. Let us know if you guys want another try. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But then I guess when he talked to Jay, is he called Jay either right before he called me or called Jay right after he called me. He said, man, you know what he told me? He said that we're not cosmetically pleasing enough.
This was a line.
Wow.
This is a line that I think they referenced in a promo for Ring of Honor.
They did. I think it was before they had a match with Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, I believe, as well. The sort of the time period that they had the tryout for as well. There's a lot of good tag teams that they could have had great matches with in WWE.
It's frustrating when there is a tag team that you know is so good, yet decision makers at the top don't quite get it, and consequently we don't see them get the push and the respect that they deserve. And the Briscoes is a great example of that.
Definitely, but guess what? They said, bugger you, WWE, and went and made a great name for themselves anyway. Like,
Exactly.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
That is exactly how they do it. Will KSI get back in a WWE ring? No. He was asked about it when he spoke to Joe.co.uk. He said, probably not. Don't mind appearing here and there, but I won't be joining WWE. Big up all the wrestlers at WWE, but that SH1T is way too much for me. Can't take many bumps. I'd rather just watch it. Fair enough.
I'm glad that he is one of the celebrities that's like, no, I'm not going to do that. We've seen great celebrity matches, obviously. Most recently, the one with Bad Bunny.
I'm
glad that he's a celebrity that can just realise that, yes, I'm not cut out for this. I don't want to do this. I'll stay firmly away. Maybe, show up ringside with his busy mate Logan Paul. But other than that, sort of, stay to the wayside, which is, I'm glad. I'm just happy he's acknowledging that.
It was a great reveal at WrestleMania.
It was
KSI. I was like, of course it's KSI. and then, right, it really, do you know what? WrestleMania was a busy weekend as it was.
It was.
And then just as we were sort of wrapping up for the Saturday, behind the curtain, not that you care, but behind the curtain, I had a Radio Newcastle shift on the radio. I had a BBC Radio Newcastle shift booked from 10 a.m.
Wow.
But I thought I'll get away about 4.
Yeah.
And then get a few sleep, a bit of sleep, and then I'll be back, and then it'll be fine. And then just as we're leaving, this WWE.com exclusive drops, and it's KSI.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was KSI bloody hinted, I'll fight Bobby Lashley tomorrow night. And we're like, right, we've got to re-record the video again. So we record it thinking, is KSI going to fight tomorrow night? And then he bloody didn't.
He didn't.
I didn't get any sleep that day. I ended up just going straight through.
I remember.
And just going to get some breakfast in town, and just thought, I'll do 28 hours, it'll be fine.
I don't know how you do it.
KSI's fault.
It's all KSI's fault.
It's all KSI's fault. Now, we'll end on some news regarding an NXT star conspicuous by their absence during the draft. We saw quite a few names get called up to the main roster. A few names that are just like been pushed out of NXT and now just like on a little raft in the middle of the ocean, like Von Wagner. Can I come? Can I come back? I don't want to come down. I want to come back with you. No, go play over there. But they don't want to play with me, Dad. They don't want to play with me, Dad. But one name that wasn't mentioned at all was Bron Breakker.
Yeah.
Why, Andrew?
Why? Well, this comes from Worked Wrestling. They say regarding Bron Breakker going undrafted, we heard there are tentative plans to draft Bron to the main roster, but officials are so impressed with his heel persona, he remained in NXT to better cultivate his character. There are tentative plans to call him up after SummerSlam.
He has been good as a baddie.
He's been great. He's been so good. And I feel like, a lot of talent have been drafted up to the main roster. I think it's always good to keep someone like a Bron Breakker on NXT, to keep eyes on it. To keep eyes, see what's going on there. Some of the bigger stars within that brand. He's going to be buzzing when he goes up to the main roster. I can't wait.
Send him up there as just a strong-willed baddie batter, a big beefy boy.
Yes.
It just comes after all your favourites.
Absolutely, I agree.
That would be a nice way to
turn him into a calculator.
What, like, so he does sums?
Yeah, so it's sign a math book, a calculator. Never mind. It's Thursday, everyone.
Can we stick a picture behind us of Bron Breakker as a calculator?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whoever's got to edit that now.
Thank you. Earn your money. There you go. There's that.
That was bad. That was bad. That was bad.
You know what? What I always say
Yeah.
is even the world's greatest javelin thrower sometimes doesn't throw a javelin very well.
It's true.
So, you know what? It's par for the course. It's the darkness that makes the light shine brighter.
It's true.
We'll have more wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Keith.
Love you, bye.
Bronculator.
Oh, that's good.